Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today TV. I'm Sakshi Batra and this is Market Today, a show where we'll help you understand all the latest cues from the D Street, starting from the benchmark index moves to the sectoral action and all the stocks that are buzzing the most in trade. Also, we'll help you with the strategies on those stocks and companies that have reported their Q4 earnings. We'll get you an expert view on all of that. But first up, a quick check on how the markets are doing at this point in time. Remember, after 3 days of continuous move on the upside, yesterday was a down day for the markets and it looks like the lackluster trade is continuing even today because there's a 0.25% fall on both the benchmarks, the Nifty and the Sensex, with Nifty performing about 50 points lower at 18,238. The Sensex also lower by 166 odd points at 61,608 at this current level. Now, what the broader markets are doing at this point in time, both the mid cap and the small cap 100 indices are actually doing better than the benchmarks, outperforming with slight gains coming in, almost 0.2% higher for the mid caps and 0.1% higher for the small cap 100 index. Now, when we also talk about the other sectoral indices, let's look at what these the action, especially starting from the Nifty Bank at this point in time. That's like slightly sluggish in trade, about 0.3% of a decline for that one. And all the components, including the financial services, the private banks and the PSU banks are in fact down in trade, especially the PSU banks. That's the one that's taking a sharper beating of about 0.5% in trade. Now, barring the FMCG index, rest all of the sectors have in fact slipped into the red today, and slight gains coming in on the realty pack as well. Barring these two, rest of the sectors are actually trading with losses at this point in time. Now, in terms of the top losers on the Nifty index, you can actually see that Tata Motors is seeing a cut of almost 2%. Some of the downgrades coming in from brokerage houses. Targets of 450 odd coming in, and that's what is creating the pressure. Adani Group continues to be seeing some profits being taken off the table for the second day in a row now. Adani Enterprises down by 2,400. Now, Hindalco, HDFC, UPL are the other counters that are down by almost 1 odd percent. On the other hand, when we look at the gainers, which are the stocks that are still holding up in this otherwise muted kind of a setup, Bharti Airtel is up by 2%. You're seeing Bajaj Auto, Divis Laboratories continuous with its upward string right there, 1.7% uptick for this one. ITC again at 52-week high levels. HDFC Life, Power Grid, these are the stocks that are up and about in trade. Let's welcome our guest on the show to get their points of view as well. Mr. Rahul Shah joins in from Motilal Oswal Financial Services. Rahul, welcome to Business Today TV and thank you for taking the time out for this discussion. First up, your own thoughts on the markets. How are you looking at this current volatile setup? Is the volatility here to stay for some more time, or is it just the weekly expiry factor that we are seeing right now, and we may look at again gaining strength and being back on that upward trajectory of the markets?
Hi, good afternoon. I think a lot of factors, the Q4 numbers, whatever still has been reported has been in line or better than what Street was estimating or what we were estimating. I think most of the Nifty universe companies have come out with the results, bearing apart a couple of them which are pending, I think, which should be done in the next couple of days. So I think the results have been quite good, and I think focus mainly what we've been talking about, I think, and what we see in this quarterly earnings is, I think, the financials has done very well, and the numbers and the management commentary is forward looking and looks like that they will continue to perform. And this sector has already done well. Auto, I think, if you took has also done very well if you look at. So I think these two sectors reported a fairly good numbers. Now, coming to the markets volatility, and I think this will continue. I think what we feel is, I think globally, I think the markets have been in a seesaw ride, and I think we've been seeing for the debt ceiling. There's still the time. If it's not done, I think we will see a kind of a seesaw ride. And if we look at it, I think there's hardly any sell-off what we've seen in last couple of days after a good rally in the markets. So I think, and today also being an monthly expiry, so we would see some kind of pressure because of that as well. So I don't think so. Overall, the trend is positive. Fundamental looks quite okay. So I feel that opportunity for investor or trader to buy stocks at declines.
Okay, let's talk about the earnings then. You did say that, most of the earnings have come in line or better than expectations in this quarter. We've seen the big numbers of LIC come about yesterday. The Q4 profit really surged about six-fold for the company at 13,428 crore rupees as well. The net commission earned by LIC is of 8,428 crore rupees for the last quarter of FY23, growing 5.4% odd as well, and showing a massive 33.4% increase compared to the previous quarter as well. What did you make of the earnings and the fine print of LIC? Are things finally coming back, to showcase that perhaps the stock price may finally give some kind of positive returns to the investors as well?
I think post listing we have seen only a southward journey for LIC, and stock has been consistently we have seen a sell off. But I think at some point of time, I think it becomes very attractive. So I think which has formed a base at 550, 560 levels, which I think the numbers what they reported was I think in line with what Street was estimating. So I don't think so any firework in the numbers. But vis-a-vis, if you look at the stock has already corrected as I mentioned. So I think, and if I compare between the listed place with the the numbers which most of the insurance companies are reported, I think which are fairly in large what the street was estimating. So I think the valuation looks good. I think the risk versus reward again for LIC looks promising from here. So if you are an investor and if you want to have to, I think I would advise that as an insurance as a sector to be in a part of the portfolio, one should have LIC in the portfolio.
One should have LIC in the portfolio. So from 604 levels, what is the kind of upside that you expect?
I feel that there could be at least 20% upside to be made from the current levels.
How long will it take for that 20% upside? Does an investor really need to have a lot of patience to get to that level?
I think what we have covered in a stock, what we feel in a year's time, this target should be easily achieved. That is what we feel.
Okay. What are the key challenges that LIC still faces that the other private players are perhaps better at this point in time? Is it the foray into the health insurance space that could, unlock value for the company going forward from here? What exactly is it that will really, bring back its mojo?
I think two things. I think if you look at the current quarter results, I think the new policy premiums has been in a downward journey. I think versus the other companies. So I think that is one thing which they need to improve. That is one thing I feel that. Secondly, I think as you rightly mentioned that I think if they get into a healthcare segment and there could be a value unlocking for them and that could be a good amount of reach from the existing customer and a good extension of it. So that could trigger the stock. So I think this two factor remains more important for LIC from here.
Okay, but do you really foresee the IPO kind of levels really returning in near to medium term future? Is that something that you're also looking at?
I think if I have to comment that I think insurance as a sector, I think the penetration will keep on increasing higher and higher. And I think we've seen in last few years the numbers of most of the insurance companies. So I feel that if you have a very long-term horizon, I think a couple of years, I'm sure that I think investor will get the IPO money, IPO price, what they've been allotted at.
All right, understood that. Another stock that I'm watching out apart from LIC, and it's not the results, but ITC, it's again hit a 52-week high level. It's already up 60% in the last 1 year. With this kind of upsurge that we've already seen after a long haul of underperformance, does ITC still have a lot of steam left? What would you really tell the investors at this point in time? What is really working for the stock, and have things already been priced in that 60% of a surge, or is there more to follow?
I feel that if you look at it, I think ITC has been one of the best performer in the Nifty universe if you look at it, and I think all the businesses have been firing for ITC. If you look at the Q4 numbers, I think one thing was very clear: the cigarette business has done well. Rest of the hotel business, FMCG, all have been showing a spark, and I think the volume growth has been fairly in line. So my sense is still, I think if I have to compare the full-fledged FMCG company versus ITC, then I think ITC still trades at a discount to those IP companies. So I feel that a lot of room growth will figure it out, and consistency of volume. I feel that ITC should perform from here onwards. Also, as an investor who's got, I think one should stay invested, or you can buy. There could be some more upside from here as well in ITC.
Okay, some more upside in ITC from here as well. Currently at 440, the stock is already up 60% in the last 1 year. But clearly, there's more steam left in the company going forward from here too. So all those invested, perhaps you may have some, reason to stay onto the stock and your investment, hold your investments even now. Let's also talk about Nykaa because the Q4 earnings came yesterday. There was a 72% plunge in the net profits to just 2.5 crore rupees, and this is despite the revenues jumping 34% odd as well. Do you still believe there is likely to be some more pain point for Nykaa investors to really face for some more time to come before things can get all hunky and dory? Or do you think that there are signs enough that one can start nibbling into the stock now?
I think if you compare between the new age businesses, I think we need to look at it. I think very few companies have been profit making at the bottom line vis-a-vis a lot of companies which are at still loss making. So I think Nykaa is one of them, which is there. So I think if you have to look at a longer term horizon, I think near term, I think there could be a limited upside. I don't think so. Near term, anything spark is going to happen in this business. But if you have a very long term view, then I think one should look at it. But I think near term, there are a lot of other opportunities versus Nykaa. So I don't think so that one should get into at this levels.
Okay, not at these levels, despite the fact that the stocks are reacting positively, despite that 72% fall in the profits in today's trading session. Another company that reported its numbers was Hindalco. Now, we did see the firm reporting a net consolidated profit for the quarter at 2411 crore rupees. That was down 37 odd percent. The revenue was clocked in at 55,857 crore rupees, rising just about 0.1%. We've seen the stock also slipping 1.5% in trade today at 400 odd levels. Analysts are cutting FY24 estimates for Hindalco's EBITDA, but long-term prospects, they still are hopeful. What is your own sense of Hindalco and how should one trade the stock now after the earnings?
I think if you look at, I think in entire Nifty universe, if we look at it Q4 earnings, if I have to segregate, I think two, three clear winners, as I mentioned, financials, followed by auto, which reported fairly in line or better than estimated numbers. And I think the draggers were, I think, metals, which was very clear in this quarter. So I think be it be steel or be it be aluminum, I think the numbers have been pretty okay kind of stuff. So I think my sense is, I think for a longer horizon, I think one shouldn't stay invested post these numbers. But I think near term, the challenges will keep remaining in this thing. And as we see that commodity cycle reversing, and we've been seeing the sell off across the asset classes, across the commodities. So I feel that in near term, I don't think so any momentum happening. But if you have a longer term horizon, I think the valuations are compelling. One should one should buy it as part of an allocation in their portfolio.
Okay, just one last talk before I let you go, and that's PTC Industries. Now, the shares really reacted quite sharply in trade today after the company's subsidiary got IAI approval for its components. In fact, its subsidiary Aeroloy Technologies was approved by Israel Aerospace Industries for the supply of cast components for aerospace applications. What is your own sense of PTC Industries as a company, as a stock? And post this kind of a news, what would you advise investors to do?
I have not been closely tracking this company on PTC Industries, so I would not able to comment anything on this.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Rahul, for being with us on the
My
show then
pleasure.
and discussing with us all those stocks that are in momentum today and what should be investors' strategy on all of them. With that, let's quickly look at how the markets are trading at this point. Down about 150 points for the Sensex, 61,617. The Nifty is also trading 42 points lower at 18,242 at this point in time. Slightly sluggish, but will the second half of trading action bring back the market's mood? We'll have to keep a watch over it because it's the expiry session and we may see some more volatility to follow, but we'll closely track all the momentum in the market, and you can do that too by being with us on Business Today TV. Many thanks for tuning in. Until then.
Hello Hello and welcome to Business Today Television. I'm Siddharth Zarabi and we are at the Goa Fest at the Business Today TV setup here at the mini studio as part of the India Today Group's involvement at Goa Fest. And with me today, one of India's most awarded creative minds, Josie Paul, the chairman of BBDO India.